Alright, welcome to today's live stream sculpting session. Let me make an announcement over on my Discord, and if you're not on the Discord channel, I believe there's a link in the description. We're doing a kind of sculpting challenge / competition type thing, and so thought it might be fun I'm going to be sculpting this with you guys during live streams and other things. So if you like this kind of thing, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and join the Discord, and then the sculpting competition will go for 3 weeks. And so let me share this live stream there, and I also try to share my live streams once they go live, just so that people can see those. And if you have questions or anything, let me know, and I'll just be sculpting. Should have grabbed some different sculpting tools. Moved most of my sculpting stuff to the barn. But it's too cold out there for the clay. It firms up so hard. So he's asking, Andrew, how's the weather today here on Central Coast, California? It's 78 degrees. Man, that is toasty. Let's see what the weather's like. So here, I mean, I was outside, but I don't know exactly what it was. So it was 29 degrees here. Not too windy, so it's actually not that cold. It's not that cold compared to how it's been. It's been really, really freezing. Well, it's been like in the negatives, -4, during the day, and then if it's windy, then it brings the cold in the barn, and my barn is not insulated, and so that's why. I have been working out there. I do my stone sculpture and another project that I'm working on. Kind of a lens, something that has to do with camera lenses, and build something a little bit different, but something I'm excited about. But that project has been mostly out there in the barn. And so it's been, yeah, it's been cold. It's been cold. So 78, that seems too, that's like too warm right now. Will you be teaching classes this year on your property? I did one last year. I think I'll do another one this year. I don't know yet. Until I put it up, it's hard to say. There's some people that have shown interest in traveling and doing this. There's not a lot to do around here. That was something that the person that came last time, came with his wife, and she was like, oh, there's not a lot to do around here, and that's kind of true in Iowa. It's, just a small town in Iowa, so there's not a lot going on. But am I going to do it? I don't know yet. Things are too up in the air right now with financials and things. I don't know if I'll be able to keep doing this whole sculpting thing. It's been difficult. And last year there was only one person that signed up, and so it was it was worth it, because if there's even one, it's worth doing it. But if there was 3 or 4, then it probably would have been more financially viable, more worthwhile. But I have the space for it, so I'm not ruling it out right now, but I can't say. It says, oh, I didn't miss the boat. As far as the live stream, yeah, it's just started. I'll probably go for, I don't know, I've been doing around an hour for these. Probably around that. That's what we'll be doing. Let's see. I like on this side for the hair to kind of fill in. I'm going to actually push this elbow in even more. Well, it says, Andrew, I've spent the last few days devouring your channel. Content is amazing and inspiring. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Somebody was like, went to your channel and saw that there's like 1,000 videos. Or no, 1,500 videos. I didn't realize it was that many. But I think that includes shorts. I'm not sure, but so shorts, sometimes I clip those from the other videos, but probably have at least around 500, you know, regular long form videos and then live streams and other things. So I guess maybe I've been focusing on quantity, just getting out a lot of content. maybe I need to work more on the quality, because I mean most of my videos, they don't perform very well. I think most of them after a couple weeks get, you know, they'll get 100, or well, they'll get a couple hundred views. So, but I don't know how to do this whole YouTube thing. Some things go crazy, and some videos I'm like, oh, I could see this going viral, and you know, it just kind of fizzles, and it happens with a lot of stuff. You don't know what's gonna connect with people and what's gonna just be ignored. But it's hard, you know, creativity, anything in the creative sphere is difficult to monetize, and it's probably easier now with things like YouTube, but I still have a difficult time figuring it all out. But I guess maybe I'm doing a fast right now, so maybe I'm low energy again. I'm like kind of feeling it on this one. Today's day 4 of a 7-day fast, so I haven't had any food in 4 days. I started Saturday evening was the last meal, and so I'm well, that's another video that I'm working on, and seeing if you can be creative and productive while fasting. I feel like this elbow is like getting close to being too long. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. So thank you for watching. Oh, let me take off a layer. It's getting warm in here. Take off a couple layers. Is fasting working for you? I need to start doing it. Well, I don't really know. I did a 4-day fast the other time, or a while back, and I'm doing it mostly for health reasons, because I've heard it helps to prevent some of the like cancers and other things your body, the type of cells that your body has a hard time getting rid of. When you have a calorie surplus all the time, then there's just no reason to get rid of some of those cells, and so a lot of the cells that end up creating problems later on in your life stick around. And so fasting is supposed to kind of put you in that position where your body has to pick and choose which cells it wants to keep, and so it encourages the body to get rid of those cells and you know, parts of the cells that are not healthy. So that's mainly why I'm doing it, because for that health. But then I also wanted to see, you know, when you're fasting, how does it affect your creativity and energy levels and productivity? And so that's kind of an experiment I've been running this week. It's kind of hard, you know, creativity is something hard to measure, and productivity is also difficult to measure. but it is interesting. When you're fasting, the first day is really when I felt the hungriest was the first day. Then you kind of get your stomach shrinks down, and your body kind of gets used to being without food. The second day was really rough though. So the second day didn't feel as hungry, like that pain in the stomach, but I just felt down, just like low energy. It's like, oh, I do not feel good. Third day I was feeling good. Third day probably felt the best so far. Today I'm kind of a little bit behind where I was on day 3. But I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. I think if nothing else I also wanted to lose a little bit of weight for taking some references for a painting I'm thinking of doing. And so I thought it would be better if I slimmed down just a little bit for that. So we'll see what it ends up, how much it ends up changing. Somebody says, I wonder if, what is that, Ugolino and his sons was inspired when Jean-Baptiste was fasting? I don't know, is it Jean-Baptiste Carpeaux? Is that who that's the name that comes to mind, but I'm not sure if I'm mixing up sculptors. But I don't know, maybe there was other sculptors that were into fasting. I think fasting is good, it's a good thing, and once a month, our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, encourages members to fast once a month, at least 24 hours, like 2 meals, food and water we do. But I just did the food and water for 24 hours, and then I've been drinking water. And I have had some electrolytes, just like a drink with electrolytes, because I felt like that was, like the electrolytes were draining, and that might have been, like my body was having a hard time getting the energy from the fats. I have plenty of fat around. I can feel it all over around my waist, so there's not a shortage there, but my body was struggling. So I had some electrolytes, and I think that helped. And Dr. Berg's YouTube channel is a good source for health knowledge. He says yeah, and somebody says yes, that Jean-Baptiste was into fasting. Jean-Baptiste. Let's see. So I wanted to do something different with this piece of drapery, but maybe I can check the others and try to maybe I will try to copy some of what's happening in this area. Yeah, I know I've heard a lot of things about the benefits of fasting, but I've also seen a lot of things with the benefits of cold plunges, and that's not something I'm interested in. I'd rather fast than do a cold plunge. Though now they say, like, oh, it's actually kind of puts your body under a lot of stress, the cold plunges, because your body's like, oh, I'm dying. This is it. We just fell through some ice, and I'm going to die. And then, so I guess the stress is part of the point of a cold plunge. But I do not like being cold. That was something I noticed, that grab some extra layers for blankets at night, because I noticed that I was getting a lot more cold when you don't have all the calories to keep you warm. So I've been bundled up even inside, and then especially when I go out and work in the barn, because I'm still trying to do all the things that I was doing before, just with fasting. I have my workouts haven't been as intense. I've been doing just like one set of max. Like today's, I just did one set of squat jumps, like 50 squat jumps in a row without stopping. Really, I'm just trying to stimulate the muscles enough to say, like, hey, don't get rid of this muscle tissue. I want to keep that around. I don't want to have to rebuild that. It's a lot of work as your body's getting rid of stuff, and muscle, requires a lot of energy. So I think if you don't do some sort of exercise while you're fasting, you do risk losing some muscle, because your body's like, oh, this is tissue that requires a lot of energy to upkeep. So, and we're in a calorie deficit, and we're not doing anything. We're not moving around a lot, and so might as well get rid of that muscle tissue. So that's why I try to do at least one heavy exercise type of exercise. But, I'll say again, if you're not on the Discord server, I've started one for students of the courses. So if you purchased any of the courses, sculpting courses, the portrait course, the figure course, the figure sculpting, the hand sculpting course, or the stone sculpting course, join the Discord so that you can share your work with other students, and it's kind of a place to be, and kind of encourage others and be encouraged in your pursuit to try to sculpt. And there's links to the YouTube video that has this pose if you're interested in joining the sculpting challenge and sculpting this with some other people. And Andrew, I can't believe that you got that you only got one person to sign up with all your sculpting talent, the amazing barn, to teach in, and you're letting people stay on your property. Yeah, well, yeah, that was, it's, I guess, I don't know, maybe I just don't know how to market things, or I don't know what it is. But if you're interested, if you message me on Instagram that you'd be interested in traveling for a sculpture, what do I call those? The sculpture, in-person sculpting workshop. Just message me on Instagram and send me your email if you haven't already. My Instagram's AndrewJosephKeith15, and say, hey, I'd be interested in traveling for sculpting workshops if you do one this year, and then I'll add you to the email list of those that have said that they might be interested in joining a workshop, an in-person workshop. Yeah, last one was fun. Even though it was just one other person, it was still fun. I think they said that they got a lot of value out of it, that they were actually glad that it was just one, because they were able to get more one-on-one kind of instruction, and and attention. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening this year, if I can do another one. But maybe I probably need to travel to, you know, California or somewhere where there's more artists. But I don't. The type of places where there's a lot of artists, I don't generally like to be. Where it's like big cities, and it's not my favorite. But and I don't know how to, you know, coordinate something like that. But this one's fun. The drapery is fun. I'm trying to figure out ways to simplify it a bit. You know, I don't want to do every fold, but you pick a couple that are interesting and then try to put those in. I guess if you can, you could do every fold and just copy it exactly as it is, but it takes so much time. You know, you could spend forever on drapery. I don't see where to find what the challenge is. Let's see, if you check the links under this video, let me see if I can find it. If I go to the live stream. Yeah, if you just go under the video more, then there's the pose. Under that, there's the YouTube short for the pose. There's the competition video, which is the link in there. And then the Discord server link. They should be all in the description of this live stream. So you just go, you just have to like pull down the more, show more under the links of this live stream. And you should be able to get all the links for the competition. Whether you want to purchase the pose or just, there's a YouTube video of it that Postspace put up, which I appreciate them for doing that. They've been great to work with. So there's a video that describes kind of what the challenge is, and then the Discord server is where you can submit images of your work in progress, and then your final submissions, which have to be before, or they have to be by the 23rd of this month. So February 23rd is when the challenge ends. And I mean, I've had fun with it. I probably wouldn't have started this sculpt and done it without this challenge, so I've already benefited from it. So I hope there's some other people out there that'll benefit from this sculpting challenge or competition. I guess I should call it a challenge because it doesn't have prizes, but I will go out and say, you know, do a video announcing who I think the winners were. Not myself. I'm just doing this for fun and kind of as a demo. Someone says, yeah, a lot of people these days don't want to learn the art of sculpture. They'd rather design it in ZBrush or Nomad Sculpt and print it out on a 3D printer. Yeah. I think there's going to be, you know, there's more of that, but then there's also, well, I don't know. I think there will still, maybe there will be an appreciation or an enjoyment of traditional things. I think there's always going to be a place for those traditional mediums, though, you know, maybe everything is moving to digital. I'm just going to be still creating, though, you know, that's one of the reasons that I like the stone sculpting course idea, is because you know, stone sculpting, most of the stone sculptures, I was thinking about it, most of the stone sculptures that I've made, I've sold. So I have, you know, an inventory of, you know, maybe 10 right now, but I've made, how many have I made? Maybe around, I don't know, 50 or something like that. Has it been that many? Maybe a little bit less, 40. They take longer, you know, stone takes longer and it's more difficult, but if you have a decent design, a decent sculpt, I feel like they are more likely for somebody to say, oh wow, that's, you know, people still appreciate that traditional medium of stone, I think. And so, I guess I haven't done bronze, so I can't really speak to that, but stone just seems to be something that people are still appreciate. Somebody says, I just don't understand how banana taped to a canvas or something of that nature can attract more attention than something like this, or sculpting in sculpture in marble. Yeah, well, yeah. I think a lot of it just shows that we're kind of, well, I'll say spiritually sick as a society. You know, we're kind of, I think there's a lot of, what do they call it, absurdism, or nihilism, where everybody thinks that everything is basically invented and there's not really any purpose to life or art, so it doesn't really serve any actual function. And so who's to say that a banana taped to a wall isn't more or less valuable than whatever other artworks people are creating? And so it's all kind of this, I think it's all part of the movement to kind of remove and get rid of objective standards for things like beauty, art, And you kind of see the desire to do that because it's hard to create something beautiful or something that's done artistically well. And so if you could create something that's just kind of a mockery of art and then sell it as art, and somebody is willing to pay for that, that's, you know, subsidized in some way by whatever, then, you know, why would you go through the difficult struggle of mastering something if you could just, you know, do something that's less, do something that's just kind of making fun of those that actually spend their time trying to create something masterfully done. And that mockery, I think, is there's obviously a market for it. You know, somebody's signing the checks. I don't know. They say a lot of it's probably money laundering. I think that's probably part of it, but I don't know. There's but I do think it is like what you value as a society, what you put up as monuments, says a lot about you. It says a lot about our culture, and the fact that we can't put up things that are as beautiful as we used to create. Well, that's not always true. There's, like, I did a video kind of talking about something like this. And I mentioned that Sabin Howard is a great sculptor. He's a modern sculptor that I really admire, and he's, you know, super talented, and he just recently finished this giant monument with like 20 figures that are just exquisitely done. And so I'd say that is like something to compare to the masterworks of the past. But I mean, hardly got any recognition. I mean, I saw it because I'm kind of in tune with his work, and I follow him on Instagram, and so I've seen a couple places where that work has been present, but it didn't get anywhere near the attention that some other sculptures have gotten, just because they're kind of ridiculous, you know, or you see an ugly sculpture or something that's just kind of like, oh, why did they do this ridiculous thing? And those tend to get more attention if they're, you know, the worse it is. So I think that says something about us, that we like to focus on the ridiculous or the absurd, or those things that can be mocked, you know, maybe deservedly so for some of these things, because I think if it's a bad work of art, it kind of deserves to be made fun of, and for us to point and say, hey, why are we paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for this sculpture? But I don't know. I'm hoping that the appetite for, you know, masterful works of art is not died out. But we have to have, you know, purpose. You have to have meaning. You have to have basically a vision of why something is valuable, or why someone is worth a monument. Because me being a figurative artist, generally they create more scrutiny because people can be criticized. You know, there's nobody on earth that can't be criticized in some way, whether rightfully or wrongly. And so a lot of the abstract, I think, is just to get away from possible criticisms. Richard McDonald's work as well. His work is fascinating to me. I probably am familiar with some of his work, though names often escape me. Though I usually will recognize their, you know, the work if I see it. But I'll have to. But it sounds maybe familiar, but I don't know. Man, it's so amazing what you're doing. Congratulations. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. it's something I enjoy, something I'd like to keep doing if I can. See, the person talking about Richard McDonald says, forgive me, his most famous works are his sculptures of cirque performers. Is it cirque or cirque? Like circus performers in Las Vegas. Oh, okay. I think I do know who you're referring to. I just by that, I think I remember works from that. Yes, very, very well done works for sure. Yeah, there are people creating beautiful, masterfully done sculptures. They just don't get the kind of press that those others get, which is unfortunate. With drapery, you want to think about the eye of the fold, kind of where the folds interact and play with each other. And there's usually what's called the eye of the fold, which is like this area right here, where the planes kind of converge and then move out from that area. So I'm trying to, you create a pinch point, that eye of the fold, and then you kind of, the forms spread out from there by looking for those eyes and then trying to spread it out. I find that an easier way of sculpting drapery, though, maybe there's not an easy way because drapery is just difficult to get to look natural. A lot of the time, a lot of drapery and sculpture just looks kind of cartoonish and very simplified, so you really have to study it and either observe the reference really well or know what you're doing if you're inventing, which is, difficult. Yeah, that's not looking terrible. I just started to dabble into really naive beginning sculpting for my plant pots, and I always knew it was pretty hard, but now I begin to understand how much work it takes to make anything at all helps so much seeing somebody else doing it and picking little tricks of how the material behaves. Yeah, it definitely helps to see how other people are working, whatever you're trying to do. If you can see somebody else that knows what they're doing, that's definitely a helpful thing. But yeah, that's fun for pottery plants, and I imagine that you're using natural clay and like a terracotta or something to make those potted plants. And that's what I would do when I was in pottery class. I didn't like making just bowls or cups. I was like, I could get one of these get one of these that's better made from the Dollar Tree. And I was really frustrated trying to figure out how to do those. So I'm not very good at pottery. Or I guess I just didn't dedicate the time that it would take to get good at pottery. Because I was like, best case scenario is a cup. Worst case scenario, 5 hours of my life gone for no cup. It's broken. It breaks or something. But I guess you could say that about a lot of art isn't. It's not about the function. It's about creating something that's interesting and that speaks to our creative desire and our desire to make things and shape the world around us, sculpt it, form it. No, the person talking about the pottery says, no, I don't have a kiln. Just use concrete and actually like it, but model everything in clay and then make a silicone molds. Oh, cool. Yeah. Just like my pots to have little legs and make like sheep and pigs and stuff. Really naive, of course. Well, that's cool. Yeah, well, I think that's cool. And the cool thing about that is, if you make the mold, then you can cast it many times. So whereas I guess there's ways to make molds with pottery, the plaster molds, and if you understand how to do that, the complexities of creating those, you can create pretty molds that help you recreate the same mug or something over and over again. But yeah, silicone, and mold making is kind of its own skill, its own art form. It's tricky to get right. That's good. Well, we all start somewhere. I say, like, if you spend just a little bit of time every day dedicated to the learning of something, there's really no limit to there's no like upper limit to your skill level where you could be. It's just like, are you willing to spend a little bit of time doing it? And it's not even that, well, I guess, time's a funny thing, but we probably all spend too much time on places like social media. And so we do things with our time where we're like, probably didn't need to spend that much time doing that. But then we don't, or we have a harder time, or at least I do, sometimes devoting time to the things that we want to accomplish and master and become great at it. So that time mastery, mastering our time is like an essential skill for any artist. Got to be able to manage your time and be able to work even when you don't feel like working. So sculpt when you don't feel like sculpting, paint when you don't feel like painting, or just I mean, and people in other jobs, you know, they recognize that sometimes when something's your job, you have to do it whether you feel like it or not. It's just your job. And so that's the thing about making art your job, is it kind of takes away some of the what would you say, the fun, I guess, the enjoyment a little bit, just because then it becomes more of an obligation, and then things that you're obligated to do or can become burdensome. But so to be an artist, you basically have to be somebody that just enjoys creating so much that you just be miserable doing anything else. That's kind of how I was, where I was like, well, I could do something more sensible, and I probably should have done something more sensible. But I just love art so much. Just want to try to make it work. So I guess my bad. But if it's just like a hobby thing, I think that's great. You can dedicate, you know, an hour a day or something to a hobby if you just set a timer on your phone and just make it something that make it a ritual that you just come back to. Day after day. And that time, that muscle memory that's built up, and that experience, and that artistic eye, all comes. Alexander Stoddart is one of my favorites over in the UK. He did some allegorical figures for the MIMS Arch in Atlanta. I hope the new proposed arch in DC will bring talented sculptors to help. Yeah, well, there's still great sculptors around. We just need to try to support those that are trying to create great things. We could use more great and beautiful works of art in the world. So I'm not exactly copying it. Maybe I should try to copy it exactly, but I'm being a little bit more selective on the pieces that or the folds that I am sculpting. But like this area, I wanted to copy it a little bit more accurately, and then this I wanted to do something different. So I'll see what's going to happen with that. Wanted to design something different. I'm starting to use more complex molds. Yeah, it's a tricky process in itself, but I'd say the sculpting is the challenge for me, and probably most. The mold part feels technical and researchable. Yeah, that's true. It's like there's part of the creative process that are more well, I'd say it's all kind of a skill that you can learn, but more yeah, there's more of a science to it than with certain types of mold making. Or with mold making in general. It's kind of more of a science. Let's see, this is coming. Sculpting is one of those things that just helps you kind of turn your brain off to other things, you know, the worries that you have and stuff that you just think about. Kind of just allows you to get lost in what you're doing. I think there's some other things that are like that where it's, you know, sculpting's not the only thing. There's many things where you're so focused in on what you're doing that you're able to shut off the parts of your brain that would, you know, worry about this or that, that are, you're able to kind of, it's almost kind of a meditation or something like that. I do like that part of sculpting. I'm looking on your site right now, and your sculptures are amazing. Do you do any digital sculpture by any chance, or is that taboo? It's not taboo. There's a lot of people that do it. I've chosen to focus on more traditional, whether that's clay or stone. I don't know if you're on the Gumroad or my site, the andrewjosephkeith.com. That one has like my older stuff, which is mostly stone, and a lot of it's abstract. But the Gumroad has my like online courses and kind of more examples of my figurative stuff, which I think is better, you know, more impressive than the abstract. Though the abstract is fun. It's fun doing abstract, but it's not as not as impressive, I'd say. But yeah, digital is fine. I just have chosen to go more traditional. I feel like with digital there's with anything digital, you know, we're getting to a point where technology is going to kind of, I guess, cheapen things that are digital things. With AI and everything, it just makes anything less trusted if it's digital. It's like, oh, was that created by AI, or how much AI, or whatever. But with traditional stuff, I think you can say like, oh, okay, well, at least we know this was created physically. I guess maybe we don't even know that, you know, once technology gets to the point where you could fake this could be AI right now faking this video. Not really. They have a hard time. I think it takes a lot of energy to do longer videos, and there's a bunch of problems with that. But you know what I mean, that digital is, it's like, while it's gives you a lot of tools and a lot of advantages, it's also got some drawbacks in the near future that I could see happening. Yeah, yes, on your side. We'll check it out now. Have you heard of the Constantine bronchus? Reminds me of your older stuff a bit. If for my naive eye again. I don't know if I've. Oh, maybe I have. Maybe I've seen that. That's kind of like the guy kind of moving forward. If that's a sculpture that you're mentioning. But yeah, it's, you know, it's a very abstracted but fun. I enjoy abstract. It has to be figurative though, I think. You know, if it's not figurative, I'm not really that interested. But if it's a figure, then I could, you know, there's many. I enjoy abstract and realistic and stone and clay. I've done one in wood, but wood tools make me nervous, because if it'll cut through wood, it'll cut through you just about as fast, if not faster. And so stone tools are a little bit more forgiving. You can, even with the angle grinder on stone, which I use a lot for my abstract work, you can, you know, the blade can hit your arm and it won't tear through you. It just kind of burns. It gives you like this, it's like sandpaper, like a rough sandpaper. Most of it diamond blades is what I use a lot. So you don't really get gashes. But if like a chainsaw is like scooping. It's like a blade that just scoops away the material. So it's like you hit your leg or arm with a chainsaw, and it is, whatever you cut through is gone. It is much more dangerous, or it can be. I guess it depends on, you know, how safe you are in general, and if you're taking those safety measures seriously. Man, there's a lot going on in the drapery. I have to choose which ones I'm gonna pull out. It's fun. Like this drapery is, you know, it's not going to be critiqued as much as the figure. We're much more unforgiving of mistakes when it comes to the figure, because we know what people should look like and what we expect them to look like. Whereas drapery, we have a little bit more freedom and can be a little bit more free with it. trying to think how low I want this to come down. I think I want it to come down a little bit lower. Hey everyone, it's looking much better. Thank you, I appreciate that. I work with wood for lamps and epoxy stuff, but I am more scared of the grinder than most other tools except a table and chainsaw. Yeah, I guess the angle grinder is dangerous. I'm just so used to working with it. Maybe I've given myself a false sense of security when it comes to the angle grinder. But you still do have to be very careful with the angle grinder. But yeah, chainsaws and table saws, yeah, any type of wood saw, it'll just eat through whatever. Because wood is tough, and so you need something tough to cut the wood and sharp. And stone tools don't need to be that sharp. They're mostly like a heavy grit sandpaper. But I have an extremely thick leather apron, neck and arm coat that are built for myself, and I wear it whenever I use dangerous tools. Well, that's good. Yeah, be safe, stay safe. Wear protective gear that'll help you to be able to create things. And I guess, yeah, I use a table saw as well, and you got to be careful. You got to be very careful with that. But that's true that is probably just as dangerous, as an angle grinder. Also, how are you going to use your clay model now? Are you going to cast plaster around it, or do you produce a sculpture out of your models? Well, the plan with this one is probably to take a mold, silicone mold with a mother mold, with probably a plaster mother mold, and then possibly to use it as a reference for stone sculpture. But I'm not sure yet, so I'll have to see how it turns out and then make a decision. But that's why I'm being a little bit more free with it. You know, I mean, if you're doing the competition or this challenge, you could do however you choose. But I'm being a little bit more, maybe making more changes. In fact, I think I want to bring the chin up even more. I brought it up before, but I think I like the idea of her looking up just a little bit more. And I need to bring in some of my clay sculpting tools from the barn to get into the details and stuff. And then for the texturing, but you can, you can do a lot by hand. And I try to do a lot by hand. Feel like this hip, the leg, I wanted the leg to come in a little bit more, and so I'm trying to figure out where the armature was. Man, the armature's deep in there. So yeah, I can move that over. I'm gonna move that. So anywhere where I see that the gesture of the pose is more interesting than the gesture of the armature, I'll try to make those changes, because with stone, if this is turned into stone, you want everything in the maquette to be like way too gestural, because every stone sculpture I've ever done has become more stiff when it's translated from the armature to the stone. So that's probably something I just need to work on, actually how to do it. It's probably just mistakes on my part, but that's one of the reasons I try to really push the gesture in these types of things, and we'll do that as well here. Let's see. So we'll say that could even move the foot over a little bit. That looks kind of silly. Really skinny ankle there. But I think it'll be better in the long run. That over just a little bit more. Man, every once in a while I'm just like, oh, I'm hungry. It must be close to mealtime. And then I remember that I still have 3 more days before I'm gonna eat anything. Like, oh, I'm fasting. Oh, I'm hungry. It must be mealtime. Nope. I'm just gonna be hungry for a while. Whoa, that is amazing. Just as a reference, my mind is still working in coping with what I see physically sometimes in silicone. I don't think I could copy any object if I had another beside it. Yeah, it is difficult transferring a sculpture from clay to stone. By sculpting, I mean I get acceptably close to the original. So sculpt some. Yep. Yeah, it is It's a difficult process. Doing anything in stone is very, very difficult. But I do want to do more. You know, that's part of what makes it impressive, is just that it's difficult. I like this fold that comes down, but I think I pushed it over too much. I think that as I'm pushing this out on this side, that this is too far out over here, so I'm gonna pull that in. Push this over. Gotta get it where it feels right. Okay, how long have we been going for? 35 minutes about. Okay, we'll keep going. He says, I wouldn't worry about AI in sculpting. I work in it. And I promise you, AI never know what subtle means. We'll never have class. It'll always go overboard and look kitsch. Yeah. Well, I think it's not so much a question of can AI create something that looks like it's been done by a person. I think it's with a lot of things it's already kind of there. It's will people accept AI simulated art, because it's not actually art. Art comes from people. But will people accept that as art and entertainment? I hate when I'm going through social media and I come across things, and then I come across like somebody, you know, whatever, building like doing a time lapse of building a structure, and it's like obviously AI, or it becomes obvious after a couple seconds, and I just hate that. I think that there should be, that legally you should be required to put whether a piece of content is AI generated, because if you think that you're, you know, building something, or if you think you're watching, because it's just lying, you know, it's just a form of lying to you. If you're trying to pass off an AI piece of content as something that's real, it's just a form of false advertisement. It's like false advertisement for reality. And so I think there definitely should be some regulations that require AI to, those posting AI, to disclose that it is AI, and the ability for you on your feed to say, I don't want to see AI generated videos. I'm just not interested in that. Because it's like, as somebody that's done, you know, I've created whatever 1,500 videos, it's like it really cheapens the, I guess you could call it an art form. I guess it's not really technically an art form of video creation if you call it an art or content creation, but it definitely cheapens that. So you should just be required to disclose it. I think that's the main thing. Like, you should never run into a piece of content and be like, is this AI or is it not? When you're working from photo references, do you ever do any preliminary drawing before you start sculpting? I mean, I probably should. It'd probably be better if I did, but I don't usually. So, but that isn't a. But I should sketch more. I even tried to start a drawing channel to encourage me to sketch more, and as soon as I started the channel I stopped drawing, so I need to get that going again. I think I was gonna try to do some drawings with my kids, kind of maybe do more kids content with drawing and stuff, just to do something that I could do with my kids. Some fun drawing videos, so we'll see. But yeah, I haven't been sketching as much as I should. So I don't, but would I recommend it? Yeah, I'd recommend doing a couple sketches of whatever you're trying to sculpt, because that'll help you. That'll help you understand what you're looking at, and drawing is just a good skill to have for any artist. In Edward Lanteri's book, which is one of my favorite books, I have a video about it on the channel, Modeling and Sculpting the Human Figure. He talks about that a student of sculpting should do just as much drawing as, if not more drawing, than a student of painting. So he really saw sculpting as just another form of drawing in space. Drawing in space. Sounds like the kids are having fun in the other room. That's good. Okay, let's see. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna end it there for this stream. I've been able to work on some of this drapery back here, and I like what's happening there more. I think that that's nice. And so if you're interested, if you'd like to get the references for this pose, there's all the links in the video description. We'll have information on that. If you'd like to support, then I definitely encourage you to support over on Patreon, my Patreon page. Or my Gumroad also has an option for like a monthly support. And so if you can, that really helps. Or, you know, getting my courses, the figure sculpting fundamentals course, the portrait sculpting course, or the hand sculpting course, or the stone sculpting course. Those courses, I put a lot of work into building those, and I feel like they provide a lot of value to anybody that's interested in those things. And so if you'd like to learn traditional sculpting techniques, I hope you'll check out those courses and consider purchasing them. If you message me on Instagram, I'll give you a discount code. And my Instagram's AndrewJosephKeith15. You can find me over there. But yeah, it's fun. This has been a fun one, and so we'll keep going next time. Stay creative, stay productive, and hopefully I'll see you again in another video or live stream.